What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down the best wide receiver gym exercises, and we are going to be showing live game examples of how these gym exercises translate to on-field play. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver or your quarterback and would like to train with us this off-season, we are going to be traveling out to 13 more states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. Next up on our camp tour, we'll be coming out to Phoenix, Arizona. That camp is almost completely sold out. Then Charlotte, same deal. That camp is almost sold out. Dallas, the DMV, St. Louis, Honolulu, Boston, Cleveland, Austin, Seattle, Newark, Denver, and Los Angeles. So check out that very first link in the description below for more information and how you guys can get some work in with us this off season. Let's get started. So first example here, we're going to be showing a couple different lifts here from Tyreek Hill. And like I said, we're going to be showcasing how these lifts apply to a live game situation. But first, I want to show a route from Tyreek Hill. So this is going to be called a squirrel route. This route is something that is used in a lot of different NFL playbooks, some maybe high school and college playbooks. It takes a while to develop, but it's usually off of like play action, sprint out, those types of plays. But this is a very explosive route from Tyreek Hill. So a squirrel route is an out, up, and then come back. So it requires two different speed cuts and then a hip drop at the top of the break. And you're going to have to be moving with some speed. So let's play at full speed. So the things about this route, a lot of people, want to run routes like these NFL guys. They want to be able to have explosive cuts, but they don't necessarily know how to have explosive cuts. So when you guys are making cuts and you're cutting off of 1 foot, that requires a great deal of leg strength. You need to have leg strength, hamstring, glute strength. You need to have ankle stability, knee stability, because when you're moving at a fast speed, you better have strong legs and a stable lower half to make those types of cuts. That's one of the mistakes that a lot of young wide receivers make, is that they'll be running routes, they'll be making cuts, but they're so afraid to injure themselves. They're so afraid to hurt themselves because it's hard to cut while you're running full speed, but they haven't done the leg work in the gym, and metaphorically and literally the leg work in the gym to build the strength there. Now, another thing that you need to be able to make these types of cuts and to be able to make that explosive drop of your hips at the top of the break is a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers. So in the gym, you need to be working on those fast twitch exercises to build those fast twitch muscle fibers. And that's what I want to talk about today. So this first example here from Tyreek Hill, he is going to be doing something called a trap bar deadlift. So I'm sure all of you have seen deadlifts before. Now, I personally don't like conventional deadlifts with a straight bar because I feel like that puts a lot of stress on your lower back. So what a trap bar is, I'm sure you guys have all seen that trap bar. It's kind of like that hexagon looking thing where you load the plates onto the end and you step into the trap bar and you do this deadlift. Now, this is a great exercise for wide receivers because this trap bar activates your glutes and your legs more and takes stress off of the lower back rather than a conventional deadlift would with a straight bar. So I love this type of exercise. But again, this is not the only thing that you can do. Squats are great. Front squats are great. Anything to build up strength in your legs and to get your legs stronger and more explosive is going to help it translate to on-field play. Because like I said, to be able to make these types of cuts where you guys are cutting off of 1 foot like this, if you have weak legs and you're running routes at a full speed, you are not going to be able to make that cut or make a sharp cut because you will lack balance, you will lack stability, and you will lack strength. All three of those things you need to be able to run your routes full speed. Because on every single route, what are we trying to sell? What am I trying to make a DB think? Trying to make him think of fade. Now, especially if you're that guy who's maybe not the fastest in the world, you have to be running hard. You got to be running full speed, full stride, good pad level, no indicators as I call it. To be able to cut on a dime, that requires a ton of leg strength and a ton of stability in your lower half. So that trap bar deadlift is a great exercise you can do for that. Maybe you do a single leg deadlift. Maybe you do a single leg squat. You do a lot of things to strengthen your legs. Legs are something that's super important for wide receivers to work on. Now, let's look at this next example here. So this is Tyreek Hill, and he's going to be doing kind of like a one-legged, almost box jump, but he's jumping over this box. Now, do I need you guys to jump this high? No. Tyreek Hill's a freak of nature, but let's think about this exercise. Why is he doing this exercise? So let's play at full speed. He comes from a lunge and is able to jump over that box off of 1 foot. So guess what this position is simulating? This is simulating a cut at the top of the break. This is simulating that speed cut, that cut that you make on a post, that cut that you make on a corner. Now, if you got a DB who's trailing on your hip, let's say I'm running a corner route, and I got a DB who's trailing on my hip. When I cut off of my right foot, I want to be able to explode out of the break. because I want to widen the distance from that DB. I don't want to cut and then not have any type of explosion off of this cut, not have any type of strength, stability in my lower half. So I take all these extra steps, and that allows the DB to recover. We need to be able to have explosion off of my cuts. So like, let's go back to that squirrel route again. Watch what he does off of this. Like, so obviously a squirrel route is an out, up, and then come back. So when you burst up off of this out and up, you need some explosion because you're trying to make this DB think we're running an out and up. So when he breaks to this out route, look what he does. He cuts, but when he cuts off of this, he is pushing off of this. He is pushing to explode because that push is what gives him that acceleration to help him sell the route. So let's go back to this drill. What is he, or this exercise, I should say. He is pushing off of this foot to try to explode and to try to jump over these boxes here. So let's watch it again. He explodes off of it. And that shoot from his hips, that twitch from his lower half, that's how we build that fast twitch fiber, fellas. And that fast twitch fiber, combined with the right types of exercises, is what's going to help us. That is what's going to help us make those explosive cuts and cut on a dime. I get a lot of questions from wide receivers like, Coach, well, how do I cut on a dime? I feel like I slow down before my breaks. And one of the questions that I'll ask them is, well, how often are you in the gym and what are you working on in the gym? And if they tell me, oh, well, I'm doing bench press, and we're going to talk about bench press and why I think that's a dumb exercise for wide receivers in a second here, but they tell me those basic bodybuilding lifts, we have to train like wide receivers because at the end of the day, we're trying to be the best football player possible, not look good with our shirts off, right? So let's play this again full speed. That's a great example of explosive lift there. And again, if you don't want to jump over a box, maybe do a one-legged box jump. You don't have to jump that high, but maybe we set up a box, you stand on one foot, and we jump to the box. It's simple. You don't have to be super creative. You see all the flashy workouts and stuff like that, but honestly, it's simple concepts that you need to work on. So let's look at this exercise here, because remember, we talked about explosiveness, right? To be a wide receiver, to be able to beat, like some of the, you're, again, as a wide receiver, if you want to play in college, you want to play in the NFL, you want to play a high-level high school ball, you're going up against DBs who are extremely talented, fast, well-coached. And the DB position continues to evolve every single year. You look at the guys that come out of the draft. Derek Stingley, the guy for the Seahawks, his name is slipping me, but then you got Sauce Gardner. Those guys are so dang good. Every year they get better. So we have to try to focus on eliminating any type of wasted time, wasted movement, or slow play on my route. So explosiveness matters. To get in and out of cuts, you need that explosive hip drop. So what are some things you can do in the gym? That is all based on developing explosion from your hips and also developing those fast twitch fibers. So what Tyreek Hill's doing here is he's doing this form of a medicine ball throw. He dips down and he explodes and throws that medicine ball as high as he can go. So you see how low he's dropping here. What does that remind you of? That reminds you of what you would have to do at the top of the break. Obviously, your feet aren't going to be this wide. Obviously, you're maybe not going to drop that low with your chest, but you're dropping your butt down. And what do you have to do with that medicine ball? He explodes up and throws. So that's working on that fast twitch. That's working on that explosion from his hips. All those things that translate at the top of the break. So let's look at this example here from Tyreek Hill. He is doing this box fall. He's going to land off of this fall to work on like stability, to work on absorbing force, which helps at the top of the route as well. And then watch what he does. He falls off the box, explodes broad jump, and then into a box jump. All of that right there is going to directly translate to the hip drop, the cuts, everything that you need to build explosion at the top of the route. Because again, he falls off the box, he's absorbing force on his legs. What does that help with? That helps with absorbing force at the top of a route. Then he does a broad jump. Where is he exploding from? He's exploding from his hips, working on that fast twitch. Then he does a box jump. Where is he exploding from? His lower half and his hips to shoot up. Fellas, this is the name of the game. As a wide receiver, to develop explosion, to make explosive cuts, you can't be neglecting those plyometric exercises. So regular box jumps, single leg box jumps, power cleans are great, and we're going to be talking about that in a second, okay? So now, let's look at this game example here from Tyreek Hill. This is that slant out that I'm sure all of you have seen, but I want you to watch what he does, because if you're running a slant out route, we were trying to get the DB to crash on a slant. It's just like any other double move. But when you're running a double move especially, how you sell a double move, how you can sell a slant, you need to make sure that we are running hard, my stride length doesn't change, and my hips and my shoulders are committed to the slant. All of those things is what gets a DB to crash. So obviously, like I've said in the past, it's much easier said than done to change direction while doing that. So let's watch what he does here. He breaks to the inside, hip drop. That explosive change of direction right there. What is that just like the last example we looked at? You see how he snaps down and he's driving his feet into the ground. That's just like him falling off the box, catching himself, building that stability, absorbing force. He is dropping his hips. That's just like him exploding with his hips. And then obviously he is trying to drive out and cut off of those legs, building off of that single leg look that we were looking at earlier, building off of all those explosive movements, the med ball throws, all those fast twitch exercises. Because your body is made up of two kinds of muscle fibers. Well, kind of three. You got slow twitch muscle fibers, then you got fast twitch A and fast twitch B. Football is a very fast twitch A sport, especially the wide receiver position. So when you're in the gym, you should be doing things that are trying to develop that all-out effort movement, that all-out explosive movement. You shouldn't be doing like for example, let's say you're doing those box jumps, right, that Tyreek Hill was doing. You shouldn't be just jumping back and forth doing 20 of them. You should be, hey, I'm going to explode. I'm going to put the box to where it's a high where I have to really try to jump. I'm going to explode up. Then I'm going to step back down, get myself together, and I'm going to do it again. Because we're trying to generate explosiveness. We're not trying to do a cardio workout. The cardio is different for football players and for like soccer players, if you will. So let's play this again full speed, and then we're going to be talking about why bench press I don't feel serves a wide receiver any benefit. So this clip right here kind of bothered me a little bit, is why I wanted to include it in this. And not knocking the people in the video. I'm just saying it was a clip from Twitter, and it was, somebody talking about, oh, this is one of our wide receivers on our team, and yeah, he's a wide receiver. Look at how much weight he's bench pressing and all that. I just want to know why. I just want to know why this serves a purpose. Like, why are we having a wide receiver do bench press? Why do we have really, honestly, any football player do bench press? I know it's an unpopular opinion because everybody's going to come at me and say, well, oh, it helps with blocking. But I'm going to talk to you about why it doesn't help with blocking in a second here. Because if you ask any offensive line coach, this will be a test for all of you. If you don't believe what I'm saying, go to your high school or your youth team or whatever. Ask your offensive line coach, hey, what's the technique behind blocking? And they're going to tell you that you drive from your hips. Your upper body has a quick punch with the hand. You are not trying to bench press people off of you. Your power comes from your hips, your legs, and your base, right? So why are we doing bench press? When are you ever going to be playing football off of your back? When are you ever going to be solely trying to press somebody? Like if you're blocking somebody, you're not using your chest, your shoulders, and your arms. You're using your hips and you're using your legs to drive. You're not doing the upper body thing. Like if you look up like old University of Nebraska philosophy on lifting, and they have one of the best lifting programs in college football, they talk about how they do not have their any of their players, offensive line, defensive line, anybody, do bench press. And then I've heard stories like when Pete Carroll was at USC, one of the fastest, most explosive teams around, they didn't have their guys do bench press either. And that was one of the offensive line coaches that used to shadow there. He used to work there. I asked him about that because coaching receivers, I'm asking him, hey, what are some exercises that can help with blocking? I thought bench press would be great. He said, no, exercise like power cleans, jump squats, box jumps. Those explosive things generate power from the lower half is what will help you. Now, I get it. If you're at school and they're making you do bench press, you can't be that guy, especially if you're competing for time. It's like, oh, well, coach, I'm not going to do that. You can't be that guy. You have to do it, but just know that it's probably not going to serve you any athletic purpose. So let's look at this example here from CeeDee Lamb. He's blocking somebody downfield, but what is he doing? Is he bench pressing somebody? No, he's got his hands in tight. He's driving from his feet. He's driving from his legs, and he is driving from his hips. He's not bench pressing anybody. He's driving his feet. That is the technique behind blocking. You look at any offensive lineman, are they trying to bench press people with their feet steady in the ground? No, they're keeping their feet moving. They keep a strong base. They're driving from their legs. That is what's most important. You're just punching as an offensive lineman. You're better off not doing bench press. You're better off getting like the top end of the bar and doing those single arm, God, the name is freaking slipping me. I'm sure some of you guys know it and you can leave it in the comment section. But it's where you hold the end of the bar, you put dumbbells on it, you put it into like something that locks the bar in, and you do those like single arm punches, if you will. I know what I'm talking about. If you guys have questions on what that exercise is, just shoot that in the comment section below, and I'll send you over the exercise. Just got to look it up after filming this. But now let's look at this example from CeeDee Lamb, right? We just watched him blocking. What's he doing in the gym? Is he bench pressing? No, he's with his strength coach and he's working on power cleans. Does he have this big, huge chest like a bodybuilder? No, he's very built, he's very explosive, and he's very fast. Those are the things that they're looking for in wide receivers, fellas. They don't care how much you bench. Why do you think at the NFL Combine, a lot of receivers don't bench and a lot of receivers, they don't publicize it? Nobody talks about bench press for receivers at the Combine. What do they talk about? 40, 3 cone, how well they run routes. That's what they talk about. And more importantly, game film. I think the combine's a total scam, but if you guys need more proof, the proof's there. Nobody talks about a receiver doing bench press. They talk about how fast they ran the 40. And you know where that comes from? That comes from all those exercises that we talked about in the beginning of this video. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this video gave you some value. I hope it kind of gave you some insight on just some things that can really help your game improve. And again, if you would like to train with us this offseason, we are coming out to 13 different states across the country. So if you want some more information on that, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out there. I'll see you guys next time.